So then I thought, well, are there any antidotes to meaninglessness? And rational antidotes are hard to come by because you can just say, well, who cares if in 1,000 years we're all going to be dead? Why get out of bed in the morning? You can't really mount a rational case why that's not reasonable. Now, I'm not saying it is reasonable, but I thought about music. Music is a very strange art form. I had a great journalist friend of mine. He said to me the other day, he said, all art aspires to the condition of music, which I thought was great. But music, you think about the revitalizing effect music continues to have in our culture, especially among young people, and that's really, really been the case since the beginning of the 60s. It's like we got more nihilistic and less religious and all of that as our culture became more secular and more rational, more materialistic. And at the same time, the power of music as a cultural phenomenon just grew and grew and grew and grew. Say, music gives you the intimation of meaning, right, directly. So I used to watch punk rockers. I went to a Ramones concert once, which was really fun. We were up in the second floor of this theater in Montreal, and the Ramones were playing on stage like 100 feet away with their huge stadium equipment. It was so loud in there. Like I had to listen to the whole concert with my ears plugged, and I was still like 3/4 deaf for 3 days. And beneath us on the stage, sort of in front of the stage, there was a flat place, and all these punks were down there smashing into each other and doing this really rough dance. And I thought, this is so cool. We got all these nihilistic punks in here, like half beating themselves up, dancing, and being taken in by this rough music that gave them, even in their aggressive nihilism, a sense of meaning. I thought that was so cool. So why does music do that? That's a good question, because people think of music as a non-representational art. It doesn't represent anything. It's not like a drawing or a picture, or even dance where you can act something out.
Really?
Non-representational.
I don't agree with that. Like, what do you mean by music being non-representational?
Well, it's not a picture of anything.
Right, but it represents the feeling of the person who puts out the lyrics.
Yeah,
the feeling of the person who composes the music.
True, it's got emotional content. That's fair enough, because there's unhappy music and there's happy music, minor keys and major. And definitely, it plays on emotions, for sure. But it still doesn't represent anything like a picture represents it, let's say, or a sculpture. That's all I mean.
Okay.
Not that I didn't say it was without content.
I see what you're saying. But you said representation.
Yeah,
but
well, you could say it represents emotions, and fair enough.
Yeah.
But I was thinking more like a picture of an actual thing. Okay, so let's think about what music is. First of all, it's a pattern. So non-pattern music is noise. It's a pattern. But then it isn't one pattern. It's multiple patterns layered on top of one another in a harmonious manner, and in a manner that indicates, in some sense, communication between all the patterned layers, because they have to go together. And so, what's the world? Well, the world's made of objects. It's like, no, it's not. It's made of patterns. So music is just like the world, because the world's made of patterns. And then music has layered patterns that are all moving together in a harmonious manner. And so what do you do when you hear that, especially if it's got a beat? Well, then you move your body, and you want to, right? The music calls to you to move your body. So now you're moving your body in sync with the patterned layers of the world. Well, that's meaning. And then there's more to it, so that's so cool. Music is an analog of the structure of existence itself. And it calls to you to take part in that. And then, so maybe you dance by yourself, or maybe even better, you dance with someone else. And so then you both bring your bodies into this patterned relationship with this multi-layer harmony together in a spontaneous way, indicating that you can both play and are therefore potentially trustworthy future mates. That's unbelievably cool. And birds dance. It's not just human beings, you know. So this is a deep thing. And then music does something else too. It puts you on the border between chaos and order, because a boring song does exactly what you expect it to do and gets dull very quickly. And an unlistenable song is so random you can't follow it. And so what you want is predictability with a leaven of unpredictability. And then that puts you right on the edge. That's the zone of proximal development. Vygotsky discovered that.
Like a Hendrix song.
Yeah, like a Hendrix song. Well, any great music does that.
But I mean, Hendrix has so much creativity inside the structure of the song because there's riffs that he'll do.
Right. And everyone loves, oh man, I went to this bar in Nashville. This band was playing Kelly's Heroes. They have great guitarist, the best guitarist I've ever seen. And they were playing old country music with a heavy blues rock twist. So they do this great version of Ghost Riders in the Sky. It's 15 minutes long. And this brilliant guitarist just goes way out on a limb. And everybody in the crowd, it was so fun to be there. They're just thrilled to death because they're watching this man doing the same thing that surfers do. He's like dancing on the edge of chaos and order in this virtuosic manner. And everyone is so taken by that it just lifts them out of the normality of their existence. You know, you see this joy just transfuse them. And that's because they got an intimation of genuine meaning. And it's not amenable to rational criticism, which is the thing that I thought that struck me as so miraculous about music and why it has this element of salvation. It's like it puts you directly in touch with the meaning that sustains you in life, directly. And it shows you what that would be, which is something like to observe the harmonious interplay of the patterns of being stacked on top of one another, and then to bring yourself into alignment with that, which is what yogis strive to do and what disciplined athletes strive to do and what we celebrate in athletics. And it's all a reflection of the same thing. And that's real. It's real, that meaning.